Good morning. So yesterday I cleaned my electric smoker. And I just want to show you what it looks like. So it looks a little different from yesterday. And I will show you the picture from yesterday as well. You are never, ever, ever going to put any harsh chemicals in here. This is not like a stove. You will not use oven cleaner. It is half and half, 50% water, 50% apple cider vinegar. And trust me when I tell you, it looks great compared to what it looked like yesterday. Now the other part of this electric smoker is you want to make sure that you still leave the seasoning in there. Kind of like a cast iron skillet. You want to clean it, you want to get all of the hard particles off, but you do not want to make it where it doesn't produce good. I'm up early, my meat is soaking. I'm gonna also show you a video about cleaning ribs because I understand a lot of you guys don't know. And then we're gonna get started with some more. Talk soon. So I understand that a lot of people have problems with cleaning meat in the sink. Not quite sure why. I always have. It's always been the perfect place. But then again, I always clean my sink before and after whatever I'm gonna do with some bleach, some detergent, and some good old-fashioned hot water. I don't understand how for folks that's the thing. We cleans over here. What the problem is? Now when you're cleaning your meat though, after you have sanitized your area where you're gonna be working, you wanna make sure that you switch over to cold water. Some of y'all don't know about not cooking your meat before you're cooking your meat. And so for those who do know, just bear with me. I am talking to those who don't. Because there are some who don't know. And so I've learned that I have to explain the entire process. And so that's what we're going to do today. I'm up. May not be totally the prettiest, but I'm pretty. Okay? I have sanitized my sink here. And I am going to come back and show you children how to clean the meat. Okay? We're going to do that. So it's kind of early, so I don't have anybody to record for me. So I'm going to work this out with my iPad, but I want to make sure that y'all get this information. So I have gone, and I'm using an electric smoker, and I'm using an electric smoker because my apartment complex does not allow for charcoal. Now, I am a charcoal girl. I prefer charcoal. So those of you who do charcoal, here's a few tips for you. I don't use lighter fluid at all. It's not necessary. I had a thing called a chimney. It's a metal thing, cylinder about this high, and it has a rack at the bottom, and under the rack I put newspaper or anything flammable, newspaper, paper towel, stuff like that, and I put my charcoals on top of the rack. I do all of this outside, of course, and some people use a metal full pan under the newspaper. I don't. It doesn't do anything, but if you need to, that's fine. I light the chimney at the bottom where the charcoal, no, where the newspaper is, so that the newspaper will catch. And once the newspaper catches, it begins to warm the coals. When the coals are white and there's no more fire, because the charcoals are already soaked in some sort of flammable whatever. And you'll notice it because the color of the smoke will change. I know, I'm giving y'all a lot. But trust me when I tell you, I come from a long line of barbecue people. From my grandmother to my uncle to my brother. So I've watched, we've talked about it or whatever. You want that smoke to change colors before, one, you put it in your grill, and two, before you put it on your meat, or before you put your meat on it. So that's a little free one for you. So now I'm going back to this electric smoker because, again, I'm in an apartment complex and we can't do charcoal here. And the only thing that we can do is anything electric. So I already had an electric smoker. Thanks, Buzz. And so I was able to bring that. I can pretty much do everything on this smoker though. So I put my wood chips that I soaked for 30 minutes in some water. I put those in the smoker. I've put all of my grates and things back in the smoker, the drip pan. I covered the drip pan with foil so it's easier for cleaning later. And I have turned on my smoker to start warming up. All of this is about preparation, okay? So last night, I took my ribs, I rinsed them off, and I covered them with red wine. Some people use beer. I use either or, whatever I have. If I have that at home, then I'll use beer. If I don't have beer at home, then I'll use red wine. I don't try to do any of the other spirits for this. But what the wine does, or what the beer does, is it tenderizes the meat. So I'm going to take the meat out of the cooler, because I had them in a cooler, because I don't have the refrigerator space to put it in the refrigerator. So you use a cooler, a bucket, whatever you have, but make sure you put it on ice. So I'm going to show you. Y'all ready? Okay. And shout out to Uncle Dada. I do still have the cooler. So my ice, bag ice 1, bag ice 2. Okay. Now I'm going to take my meat out. And I promise you, this is the last one. Sometimes I put onions and garlic and peppers in here too. I didn't do a lot of that. And don't mind all of that markings and things. My uncle used to be a truck driver. So trust me, we cleaned and bleached this. This is just the remnants, okay? So now I'm going to pour out the wine. Look at what's going to happen. My son loves to eat, but he's not going to appreciate all this cleanup. So I try to clean as I go along, saints. For whether it's just me or the boy has to come behind me. Just makes things easier. So, as you can see, this is already pretty trimmed. If there was a flap on your ribs, that's usually like right here, I would cut that off. That's the rib tip. I cook that apart from the rib. I don't cook it with the rib. Remember I said cold water. You're doing cold water, saints, when you're cleaning any of your meat, your vegetables, or fruit. It's going to be cold water. So there's no tips on here, so I don't have that to worry about. There's not a lot of fat on here, so I don't have to trim the fat down. And I say down and not completely off, because we all know the fat has the most seasoning in it. So the only thing that I need to do really here is to pull off the membrane. On the back of the ribs here, you see this? It's a little thin film. You can use a knife, and I always have my paring knife right here with me. And again, it's clean. It's just old and my favorite. Or, if you don't need the paring knife, you can simply find the membrane, because it's hanging, and take it off. Sometimes they cooperate. Sometimes you have to cut them. And this one, you're probably going to have to cut it, or just find the right spot to pull it. Get up on there so you can see it. Please take this membrane off, y'all. You see it? It's coming off. And I'm not throwing it down my dish or my garbage disposal. I'm actually sitting it on top of the bags of ice as I'm pulling it, because I don't want it to clog up my garbage disposal. Yeah, this one is being funny, camera shy. I like to do it without cutting it if I can, because the fat behind there I like to keep. Because again, fat renders. There we go. You see it? Fat renders some seasoning. I told you, one good swoop, and it'll take it right off. I'm going to also do a separate video on the rub that I put on, because I don't like to put my ribs in the smoker until it's at my desired temperature. So like when you go to the butcher house, things like that, the meat house, a lot of times it's not trimmed. This is good and trimmed. You know, I am still shopping online, having people go and get my stuff, so I got it from the best place that I know, Costco. And you guys saw how thin it is. Now see? So it's good right up until about right here. Right here it stops. So I'll probably have to get that with the knife. But again, you don't want to take too much, just that thin layer. And that's going to get that off. Okay? So I'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like when it's all done. Alright, I'm back. So, I've added some gloves, because I just like to put on gloves when I'm doing my rub. I have finished and gotten the membrane off of the ribs. Okay. Now, when you get ready to season your meat, especially after you first washed it, it's a good idea to pat it so that your mixture will stick. So, there's some things in here. I am going to put it in the group. No, I'm not going to tell you my measurement because you may desire different things from your rub than what I have. Some people use regular paprika. I use smoked paprika. I use onion powder. I use ginger. I use both granulated and brown sugars. I use dry mustard, onion powder, garlic powder, kosher salt, pepper. And so as you can see, I have mixed all of that together. And it's up to you to figure out the measurements of how you like your meat. Taste it. I tell you all the time throughout your food, just taste it. So I'm sprinkling some generously, of course, on all the ribs. Some people use wet mustard too. It's not bad, it's just not my thing. Now, I do like wet mustard on my chicken. Shout out to my New Orleans family who put wet mustard on your chicken. I did like that. I tried it on my ribs. I didn't like that. That's me. You may like it. Okay? So you can kind of see that I am putting a generous amount on there. Now let me tell you something else about smoking, grilling, barbecuing. Some people wrap their ribs up. If you watch Barbecue University or any of that, especially in these smokers, they wrap their ribs up. There's nothing wrong with that. You can do that. I tell you, everything is based off of what your preference is. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. In this smoker, I can tell you most of the time I do. If you're using a regular grill, it's going to also help you keep in all of your seasonings and stuff. It's going to help you keep your grill a little cleaner. And it's going to give you, remember I told you I'm using granulated sugar and brown sugar. And we know sugar likes to caramelize. So that indirect heat will absolutely keep your ribs from looking burnt. We know that they're not burnt. It's because of however much sugar you used on your meat. And it caramelizes. It doesn't do that as much if you wrap it up in some foil. Okay? So you can begin to see what that's looking like. And then I'm going to smoke these for some hours, which is why I'm up doing it now. Although the holiday is tomorrow and I'm off tomorrow and all that kind of stuff, I like a nice smoke. Okay? Like I said, got a bunch of cooks in my family. So I picked up things from them. I picked up things from TV because, yes, I am that person. I will watch Food Network all day, every day, if you let me. Most people do this, like I said, the night before. I like to brine and soak mine in the alcohol the night before. It's all about your preference. You do what's comfortable for you. You do what you want to do. And then you see what you get the best results from. Okay? You got this. That's the look that you always want out your smoker. I haven't even put the media in yet. Here we go.